Femi is a certified lead auditor, certified first aider CPR, and a certified fire marshal. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's make welcome our next trainer who will be taking us on ISO 45001. Femi, the floor is yours. Please, you can take it off from here.
All right. Thank you, Mercy. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Right. Once again, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone to call. So good to meet you guys. All right. So I won't take much of a time, and I won't bother myself to say much. Mercy, I've done good justice to that introduction. So again, my name is Femi Folorunsho. So I'll be the one to take you through this section, ISO 45001. 2018 version, right? So ISO 45001 is basically for occupational health and safety, all right? There are several, of course, I know before now you must have gone through a series of ISO standards, the likes of 9001, which is quality management system, the likes of risk and all that. So there are actually over 22,000 ISO standards across the globe. ISO was established, let me just quickly take you through the brief history. It was established in 1947 by 7 delegates from 25 countries. The main goal of ISO is to ensure global compliance. Let me put it that way. Global compliance across the world, right? So let's say, for instance, so whatever that is happening in Nigeria as regards certain products and services must be the same in Germany, in the US, in Ghana, in South Asia and all that. That's the main goal of ISO, right? So that's why they have come up with several standards to the likes of 9001, the likes of 45,001, the likes of risk 31,000, the likes of food safety 22,000, the likes of ITSMS 20,000, a whole lot of them, right? So quickly, permit me to share my screen so that we'll go into the details of 45,001. So another beauty of the standard is that you can integrate some of them together and call it IMS, Integrated Management System. Why is this possible? This is possible because there are some, somebody want to speak? All right, so please confirm, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Confirm if you can see my screen. Messi, please confirm, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. Key terms and definition related to occupational health and safety.
All right, perfect. So I have a lot of slides here. So I have one slide. So I will not just speak to the slide, but I will ensure that I touch basic areas that you need so that you have adequate understanding of this, right? Okay, so again, like I said, so this is the 2018 version. All right, so before now, okay, I was talking about integrated management system. So yeah, so you can integrate this together. You can have 2 or more ISO standards together and call them integrated management system. This is possible because some of the clauses of the standard are the same, while some are entirely different. So for clause 8 of the standard is entirely different from each other, but for some other clauses like clause 4, clause 5, clause 6, 7, and all that, they are quite similar. So invariably, so in terms of documentation, for instance, so I can put together quality, which is 9001, 45,001, which is operational health and safety, and the environment, which is 14,000. I can put them together and call it QHSE, quality health and safety, quality health, safety and environment, right? That's an integrated management system, all right? So this is, instead of doing a separate document for 9001, separate document for 45,040, I can just put together and call the QHSE document. So that's just on the side. I think somebody also want to ask me, so why the need for 2018 version? All right, so the year in which we have an updated, where maybe there's some update to the entire standard and all that, then it is the 2018 essentially is a version. So when there's a new update, it will change. So for instance, this year now, let's say this we are in 2025. So if there's any update to the standard, it will now be for 45,001 2025. Just like for your, I don't know if I've done 27,001, which is Information Security Management System, right? So before now, we used to have the 2013 version, but now We have the latest version, which is 2022. So that's just on the side. So you see the probably you see the, what's it called? Okay, I've said it. So I say it's it's an international organization for standardization. They have its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. Like I say, it was founded in 1947 and all that. So again, quick, let's look at the history. Okay, so this ISO 45,000 family, the 2018, the 45,001, the 2, which is the guidance, the 3, the 4. So your main focus is actually the requirement of the standard actually in 45,001. The other one is just maybe for like guidelines and all that, the standard, right? Okay, so yeah, this is like the history for the 45,000. You can see it from the 1996 to 2018. Like I told you, you can see 2013. Before now, it used to be called OSHAS, right? Which is 18001. Now it was changed to 45,001. The latest version is 2018. It's 2018. All right. So these are some of the overview of the risk mitigation. So I just want to take you through. These are just some of the terms and definition, and to take you to the core aspect of the standard. All right. So essentially, for everything, when you see that I was saying standard, that means there are certain criteria, that means there are certain requirements that need to be fulfilled. So this requirement, this standard, are embedded into what I call the 10 clauses, right? What I call the 10 clauses. So this is where they are, right? The 10 clauses, which are clause 1 is scope, clause 2 is normative reference. You can see as I have it on my screen. Clause 1 is scope, clause 2, normative reference, clause 3, terms and definition, clause 4, context of the organization, clause 5.
Hello, sir. Mr. Ben, please, can you be a bit slower, most especially with your slide? It's a bit fast, please.
Hello?
Sir, we appreciate if you can be a bit slower. You are a bit fast. You are too fast, sir. Most especially with the slide.
All right. All right. Okay. All right. Let me put it in presentation mode so that I can. Is it better now?
Yes,
What
it's
he's
better.
saying
It's
is
better,
that
sir.
like it's a bit fast when you're explaining.
Okay,
the-
my explanation.
like,
All right. So we have a lot
slow
to say
down a
within
bit.
1 hour. So that's why. So please just pay attention and grab as much as possible that you can grab. All right. Ensure that you're not distracted and you are apparently much focused. I will be a bit slower, right? So I just wanted to capture as much as possible within this short time frame, right? So these are not the basic things, basically. They're just the normal ones that you've experienced with the other ISO standard. So I was explaining, just like the previous one that I met for the main clauses, the 10 main clauses of the standard. So please pay attention, listen very well, because I'll apparently say a lot of things that might not be in the slide. Just ensure that you pay attention, right? So clause 1, like I said, the scope. Clause 2, the normative reference. So everything is still here. So it's answer my slide. Clause 3, terms and definition. Clause 4, context of the organization. Clause 5, leadership and workers' participation. Clause 6, planning. Clause 7, support. Clause 8, operation. Clause 9, performance evaluation. Clause 10, improvement. All right. I think you still have access to this slide. Mercy, are you going to have access to this slide?
Yes, they are going to have access to the slide.
Yeah.
All right. So that's good. All right. So that I will not, so it's fine. So you still have the slide. So just ensure that you pay much attention, right? Okay. So yes. So these are the main clauses of the standard, just like every other ISO standard, right? But for the first 3 clauses, which is the clause 1, 2, and 3, I call them the introductory clauses. I call them the introductory clauses. For the first 3 clauses, I call them the what? The introductory clauses, right? So clause 1 is what? Scope. Let me pull up this slide and 1 second. I use the other one to explain this so that we get it better. A minute, please. Okay. That will be much. All right. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Hello?
Yes, we can. We can see your screen.
Yes. So let me just put this together so that it will be better. The view will be better than the other ones. You can see it at a glance. All right. Okay. So clause 1 scope, like I talked about, clause 2 normative reference and all that. So for the first 3 clauses, what I call the introductory clauses. I call them the introductory clauses. Why are they introductory clauses? Because the core requirement of the standard are embedded in clause 4 to 10. You can see these are the first 3 clauses: the clause 1, the scope, this clause 2, the normative reference, the clause 3, the terms and definition are the introductory clauses. Of course, what is scope? Scope is just the scope of the 45,001 itself, and they're speaking to the scope. Clause 2, normative reference, is their journals, their books, their materials that were consulted in putting together the standard. So of course they will be referenced. So that's what that place is talking about. And then for clause 3, the terms and definition, right? So you need to there are some terminologies that you will need adequate definitions to. So these are just, but for the requirement, the core requirement, where you begin to see the top management the organization shall do this, shall do that, are embedded in clause 4 to 10 of the standard, clause 4 to 10 of the standard. So like I said, so these are the main clauses, right? These are the main clauses. So aside this, we still have for subclauses. We still have for subclauses, right? We have other subclauses. So from clause 4 to 10, still have other subclauses. So these are the subclauses for 5,000. You can see for clause 4, we have 4.1, understanding the context of the organization. 4.2, understand the needs and expectations of the interested parties. 4.3, we have determining the scope of the OHS and EMS. So all these are still there, but this is together in one place. That's why I'm using these two. This is in the previous slide to explain so that you can see them at a glance and you can follow quickly. All right. So 4.3, determine the scope of the OHS and the OHS really. Then 4.4 and all that, even from 5.1 leadership and community. I'll still take my time to explain all this. So, but I just want you to have a feel that the requirement, everything that the organization needs to fulfill, are embedded in all these subclauses. So as a lead implementer, if you want to implement this for any organization, you'll be implementing this based on this requirement. And of course, as an auditor, if you want to audit this, every of your audit question, your checklist will be based on all these requirements that I have here, right? Is that clear? Okay, good. So quickly, before we go into the nitty-gritty, let me also do some quick explanation about, I always love my class to be very interactive. So you can go to the chat box and chat. All right, so when we talk about OHS, we talk about, like I said, occupational health and safety. So quickly, let us look at some OHS issues, which are the fall, the machines, the confined space, the noise, the temperature, the electricity, the vibrating machinery, the lightning, the air pressure, the accident, the musculoskeletal disorder, for work ergonomics and all that. So it's not limited to this. I just captured this at the basis of this class, right? So hazardous events, what do you mean by hazardous event? That event that can cause injury or to the body. The event that can cause injury or ill to the body. Example include explosions, electric shocks, falling objects, and all that. So when we talk about hazard, what are the type of hazard that we have? So I'm just trying to introduce a bit to the occupational health and safety itself before we go into the requirements of the standard, right? So what about hazard? We have different type of hazard. We have the physical hazard, we have the chemical hazard, we have the biological hazard, and we have the psychological hazard. So quick, everyone go to the chat box. All right, so quickly from the pictorial view that I have here, can you just mention what are the hazardous activities here? What hazardous activity or tasks can you see here? Quickly. Hazard and risk. What kind of hazard and risk can you identify here? Yes, everybody go to the chat box. Everybody to the chat box. So I want to hear you speak. Everybody to the chat box. Right? I have about 34 people on the call. Noise pollution. Am I still fast? Or you are referring to electric shock? Thank you. Isaac is saying noise pollution. Ademola is saying electric shock. Yes. You can see that now. You can see the speaker. Yes. More. Yes. Slippery for blessing. Thank you. Blessing is saying yes. Sleep and fall. Yes. Adiba is saying noise and temperature. Thank you. Yes. More comment. Yes. All right. Do I have only 4 people on the call? More comment. What else can you see? Can you see a man? Environmental pollution. All right. Thank you, Ademola. Thank you, everyone. All right. Can you see right there? You see, look at that man trying to enter into that confined space, right? You see that it can be choked, right? That kind of man can be choked because there will be less of oxygen. So it can experience what we call asphyxiation, right? Asphyxiation, also known as suffocation. It can suffocate because of means to die from lack of oxygen. You understand? So it's another potential work hazard. All right. So a lot of us have been able to identify vibrating machinery and all that. So a lot of us that are used to carrying loads, you can see, look at the vertebrae, right? Look at it. You can see a lot of you that, oh, I can carry it. Oh, I have energy. Oh, loads that forklift. Do you all know what we call forklift? I don't have the picture here. So that thing that is used to carry load in industry, in manufacturing, heavy load. So what I say in essence is that reduce the level at which, reduce the kind of loads that you carry while working. Ensure that in your place of work you have the right equipment to help you carry the load. You can see the normal, you can see the illustration of the backbone, the spinal cord, with combination of vertebrae and disc. All right. So our spine is made of vertebrae separated by disc. These discs act as shock absorbers, right? Discs are constantly working to support the weight of the upper body and any load you are carrying. So you can see even though the load is even, but when it's too much, look at what will happen. It presses the disc down, it damages your bones. You can see for uneven load, you can see for torsion load. So these are just Victoria views. Again, when we talk about hazard, talking about hazard and risk. When we talk about hazard, a lot of people, what comes to people's mind is, in fact, in manufacturing industry, they say use your PPE. But I want to tell you that control of hazard, in the hierarchy of control of hazard and risk, PPE is actually the least control you should think of. PPE is the least effective. All right, I think I have this here. PPE is what? Is the least effective, right? You can see the first thing that you should think of in the hierarchy of control. What I have here is the hierarchy of control, hazard and risk. Safety, hazard, and risk, right? The first thing you should think of is elimination. I cannot eliminate that because this is more or less like, it's not like now when we are talking about process risk. When we talk about health and safety, we are actually talking about lives, right? We are talking about what? Lives of human, right? So what you think of is eliminate, not that can we reduce? How can we eliminate this? Can we remove this totally? How can we remove this hazard that it will not occur totally? Again, if you can't eliminate, in the next hierarchy of control is what? Substitute. How can we replace the hazard? How can we replace with a less hazardous equipment, machine, or whatsoever, right? Or is that removing? Can we not do the activity at all? Can we stop it? Can we not do the activity? Or if we do the activity, can we not use that machine at all? Can we not use that equipment at all? If at all, if we should use it, okay? Can we go for one that will not be hazardous? Can we find a substitute instead of using the equipment? All right, engineering controls. Isolate people from that hazard. That's where you begin to see danger zone. That is, people should not go there, we should not visit the danger zone and all that, right? So we have the administrative control, which is more of like training, change the way people work, train people. How can you work around this in such a way that it will not affect you? All right. Training. Look at the example of the noisy area that we saw on the previous slide. All right. How can we train people in such a way that they will, they won't fly away from this way while they are not working there? Don't sit down there while you are not doing anything. Avoid that place. Some sort of training and orientation, right? Then the last, you can see, most effective, least effective is a PPE. That's the use of personal protective equipment. All right. But this is what a lot of people focus on most. And it is quite dangerous because PPE most likely just help you maybe to reduce and all that. There are people that use PPE, you use your ear for that that noise. Let me see that noise as the example for people that work and where there is noise and all that. The acceptable level of noise is 85 dB. So if it's more than that, it's people using earpiece, earmuff, and all that. But even at that, doesn't mean that will help you to avoid the hazard. It can just reduce the effect, and that's why they said least effective, right? Okay, so that's that on that. So let me quickly go back. I just needed to ensure that I print here. All right, so let's quickly go back to how that slide where I was talking about so the subclauses. All right, the subclauses. All right, so let's look at the requirement one by one, right? So again, like I said, this summarizes the entire standard itself. So when 4.1 talking about understanding the context of the organization, it's saying that you need to understand the mission, the vision, the internal and external issue. Most importantly, internal and external issues that are relevant or associated to your organization health and safety. What are the issues? All right. What are the issues that you need to identify? Internal, external issues that are related to your to the organization's operational health and safety. All right. So quickly again, go to the chat box. What do you think what are the possible internal, external issues do you think I can affect any form of organization? Everybody to the chat box. Everybody to the chat box. All right. Everybody to the chat box. Everyone to chat box. Quickly, let me hear from you. I want to hear from you. What internal, external use? What do you think are relevant internal, external use as regards OH&S? Example. I'm waiting. I have about 37 people on this call. I told you I love my class to be very interactive section. All right, chat box. Yes. I'm waiting. We have more people on the call. What are internal operational health and safety issues? Let me just say issues. What are the related issues that can, as regards operational health and safety? Yes. Okay, let me give you an example. Lack of adequate PPEs. That's fire outbreak. Okay. Yes. Thank you. You come here, Malara. Fire outbreak. Yes. Fire outbreak. Yes. Can be used. Yeah. Yes. I'm waiting. Lack of PPEs, personal protective equipment. Lack of resources. OHS resources. Yes. Lack of human risk, staff, and all that. So again, that's what 4.1 is talking about. Lack of education. Thank you, Isaac. Lack of education, yes. Inadequate training. Yeah, we can take that as inadequate training. Poor GMP. Do you all know GMP? Poor good manufacturing practices. It's an example of internal, external issues. All right, thank you. Again, 4.2 talks about understanding the needs and expectation of interested parties. Understanding the needs and expectation of interested parties, right? So what are the needs and expectation of interested parties? At first, who are the interested parties? Who are the interested parties that you need to identify? who are the interested parties. Interested parties, yes, you even as an employee is part of the interested parties. Employee of the organization is part of the interested parties. The regulatory body, likes of LOMA, like of different regulatory bodies, they're part of the interested parties, right? Stakeholders, board of directors, and so on and so forth. So the standard is saying that you need to identify the interested parties. You need to identify the interested parties. All right. Again, after identifying the interested parties, you need to understand what are their needs and expectation. What are the needs and expectation of such interested parties? What are the needs and expectation of such interested parties? All right. What are their needs and expectation? So their needs, example of their needs and expectation is that what are the expectation for an employee of an organization? What would be the expectation for an employee as an organization? Number one will be good remuneration, right? Good remuneration will be one of the expectation of an employee. Good remuneration, right? Okay, so aside good remuneration, again, what will be secured and safe work environment? Secure and safe work environment. So that's what that place is saying, essentially. That is what that place is saying. Okay, so good remuneration and secured workplace. Secured workplace. All right, so that's just an example. So Stada is saying identify the interested parties, know their needs and expectation, and the organization must ensure that they fulfill these needs and expectation. 4.3 talks about scope, determining the scope, all right? You need to determine the scope of your standard, the boundaries and applicability of this standard. Scope can be as regards people, scope can be as regards process, scope can be as regards location, scope can be as regards subsidiary. Do you get? You must clearly define the scope. For instance, let's say we want to implement this now. If there's an organization have its headquarters in Lagos and have other branches, about other 14 branches. So you can say, okay, the scope of this our 45,001 implementation will focus on the headquarters alone, right? I need to provide adequate justification for that. Because of inadequate resources, we are excluding our 14 branches from this scope. That's it. All right. Is that clear? Right. So that is scope. So scope can be even within the head office. You can say the scope only captures so processes. So in essence, you just need to define your scope of your standard. Again, number 4 is OHS management system and its processes. All right. So what are the processes associated with the OHS? What are the emergency processes? What are the processes within your organization associated with this? So you need to identify such processes and show the interaction between these processes. The interaction, some organization call this the process diagram. What is the flow? What is the synergy between your processes? That's what that place is saying apparently. So clause 5 talks about leadership and commitment. Leadership and commitment. Leadership and commitment. In everything you do, leadership is key. Leadership is key. If any organization is going to move forward, if any organization is going to be successful, leadership is quite important. Leadership is quite important. All right. I want to see whether okay. I want to show you a diagram to extend this leadership to you. Let me go to the slide again. All right, so those areas I've explained, don't worry, no worries. I'll add it to this slide so that you have it with the slide so that you can always because of taking notes. All right, again, let me go. I want to explain concept of leadership. leadership, 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 leadership. All right, leadership. Okay, so there's something we call the Plan, Do, Check, Act. Yes. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen, please? Hello?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right. So,
Management systems.
yes, there is something we call the PDCA cycle. The PDCA cycle. Plan, Do, Check, Act. Plan, Do, Check, Act. PDCA. Plan, Do, Check, Act. All right. So, saying plan what to do according to plan, check what you have done, and act on area of improvement. Again, plan what to do according to plan, check what you have done, and act on area of improvement. Plan, do, check, act. PDCA. All right. So the 4 to 10 clauses of the standard are divided into this plan, do, check, act. So for plan, I have clause 4, 5, and 6 under plan. Again, please, you can note that down. For plan, I have clause 4, 5, 6 under plan. What's clause 4? Context of the organization. What is 5? Leadership. What is 6? Planning. Under plan. Then again, under do, I have clause 7 and 8 under do. Clause 7 and 8 under do. I have clause 7 and 8 under do. All right. What's 7? Support. What's 8? Operation. Again, under check, I have clause 9. That is performance evaluation. You need to check what you have done. You need to check the effectiveness and the efficiency of your management system. Right? Check. And again, act. I have clause 10 under act. And what is clause 10? Improvement. Do you get it? Plan, do, check, act. Plan, do, check, act. All right. Okay. So we're getting there. So everybody, can you see where leadership is? Where's leadership? So quickly, let me see whether you're following. So you can see the arrow. You can see arrow going out, coming in. So quickly, everybody go to chat box. What's your understanding about those arrows that you're saying? Everybody to the chat box, chat box, chat box. I told you I love my class to be very interactive. Everybody to the chat box. Okay. Everybody to the chat box. Yes, 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 yes. I want to hear from you. So what's your understanding? All right. Poor risk assessment procedure and weak emergency response plan. Yes, I know it's at the middle. I know it's at the middle. So what's happening? For leadership to be at the middle, what does that mean? For the arrows are going out and are coming in. Yes, Stephen is saying leadership at central, meaning they want to ensure control of other processes. Yes, good, brilliant. Bravo. Stephen, well done, bravo. So how do they ensure? Yes, how do they ensure? Fuels all, fuel. What kind of fuel? Is it PMS? Is it diesel? That's on the lighter wood. All right, thank you. So who is user? User, I don't know. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. I need concrete answer. Stephen, I don't need to expatiate more. Stephen Tayo Mujemi. All right. Okay. All right, Lara. I don't know. It's a cycle of what is supposed to be done. Yeah, I want it to be direct. So arrows are going out, arrows are coming back. Yes, 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 yes. What's happening there? What's happening? What's happening?
Yes, my network is bad. But what I was trying to say is that leadership have to be involved in all the stages. They have to take part and they lead others in the planning, in the improvements, performance, and support. They have to be involved.
All right, good. Thank you. What's your name, please? I didn't get that.
Steven.
Okay, Stephen, thank you. So Ademola is thank you, Stephen. Ademola, I say leadership is the engine room for others to function. Yes, it's the brain. Lara, you're saying the brain organizer, they are there to coordinate. Okay, good. All right, fantastic responses. All right, that's good. So leadership, essentially, one of the key things that leadership provides is leadership provides strategic direction. What do I call it? Strategic direction for the organization. You can see they are directing. So you do this. An organization without direction is going nowhere. That's why we're going to see strategic objective, strategic planning, and all that. So one of the things that leadership, Zerubbabel, Okay, leadership cut across operates from section 2. Yes. So provide strategic direction. All right. Again, what leadership does is appoint roles, responsibility, and also give authority. Because when you appoint roles, let's say I'm appointed to be sometime, no authority, I wasn't given authority. It's as useless as not appointing me. So you need to also give authority to be able to act in that capacity and function properly with the appropriate responsibility that has been given. All right. Okay. Again, what leadership does is to establish policies, divine processes. All right. That needs to be done. Establish policies, divine processes. Establish policies, divine processes. Right. Again, leadership. Another thing that leadership does is not limited to all these things I'm saying. That don't give me the specific one. Is to provide what I call the 5 M's of management resources. What do I call it? The 5 M's of management resources. So that's part of what leadership does. All right. They provide the 5 M's of management resources. What are they? What are the 5 M's? Money, material, machines, manpower, and method. Money, material, machines, manpower, and method. 5 M's of management resources. You can see it on screen. Don't worry, I'm going to add this as part of your slide and share with you. Money, manpower, material, machines, and method. These are some of the resources that management, 5 M's of management resources that they're expected to provide. Yes, money. Money is important. No organization will move forward without adequate funding, right? Manpower, the employees, right? The machines, the equipment, the method, the processes. We want to do A, B, C, D. How do we go about it? What are the procedures? What are the guidelines, right? Again, the material. What are the material that will be used, right? The raw, either raw material, whatever, in form of material that needs to be used. So that the 5 M's of management resources. So that's leadership. I think I'll be able to explain leadership in a bit, right? Are we good? Okay, yes, thank you, Stephen. Leadership are to delegate responsibility and order. Yes, leadership does that. Again, so we'll go back to what I was explaining. So leadership and commitment, leadership and commitment, leadership and commitment, leadership and commitment. All right. Again, on seconds, leadership and commitment. Okay, so that's when clause 4, when clause 5.1, leadership and commitment. All right, so that's what 5.1 says. So 5.2 talked about policy, OH&S policy. You need to set policy. So you need to establish policy for your OH&S and not just establishing. After you establish policy, you need to communicate the policy to all staff, even down to security. Everybody must be aware of those policies. They must know about it and all that. All right. You need to be aware, pretty much aware of this policy. Again, like I said, 5.3, organizational rules, responsibility, and authority. So these are part of what leadership does. Then consultation and participation of workers. They must ensure that everybody participates. Engagement of people is important. Everybody must be assigned roles and responsibility. Then plus 6 talks about planning. Planning, that's risk. 6.1 talks about action to address risks and opportunity. So you need to identify risk. I told you, you need to identify that different responses to risks that, you know, risk can be accepted, risk can be transferred, risk can be shared, risk can be accepted, rejected, avoid, yes, can be avoided, right? Different approach to risk. I just show you one of the hierarchy of control for hazard and risk. What you'll be looking at is elimination, all right? So that also, again, there, before, it's important to know the impact of risk. It is important to what? To know the impact of risk on, so that you know that great control measure you can provide for that risk. All right. So how do you know the impact of risk? Is by doing what I call the risk rating, by calculating the risk rating. And how do you calculate risk rating, right? How do you calculate risk rating? Let me quickly show you something. Mathematical expression for risk rating is probability multiplied by consequence. Probability multiplied by consequence. Again, some people will say likelihood multiplied by severity or impact. It's still the same thing. We are just saying the same English. It's just grammar. All right. Probability multiplied by consequence. Likelihood multiplied by impact. All right. Are we good? Okay. So how do you do that? So to do your risk rating, you also need what I call a risk matrix. A risk matrix, either a 5x5. So you can use different risk matrix. All these things, every organization must have defined it in what I call their risk methodology or risk framework. Risk methodology or framework. So again, so this is the risk. I hope you can see risk management process. That's what you are seeing on my screen, right? So this is an overview of the risk management process: to identify risk, to assess risk, to control risk, and to review risk. So when you identify risk, the next thing is for you to assess that risk. That's the rating, to rate the risk. Then the rating will tell you what steps you need to take, right? Either it is, you can see here what I have here. Then you control the risk, and you, after control, you review controls, right? Again, so look at the example I have here. So this is a 5x5 risk matrix. This is a 5x5 risk matrix. How is it 5x5? You can see, okay, you can see the severity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the probability 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a 5x5. It were to be that it is 3 that is here and 3 that is in the other side, then it will be a 3x3. If it was to be 4 and 4 in the other, it will be a 4x4. So every organization can adopt whatever they like. You can see the other one I have here. You can see the consequence, you can see the likelihood. So for likelihood, I have 4 is rare. For 2, I have unlikely. For 3, I have 4 possible. For 4, I have, for 5, I have almost certain. And of course, again, for consequence, for 1, I have negligible. For 2, I have minor. For 3, I have moderate. For 4, I have major. For 5, I have catastrophic. So all these things, you will have defined it in your risk methodology or framework, right? Again, so somebody quickly, somebody go to the chat box and give us an example of a risk. Give us an example of a risk, and let's do the rating together quickly. Example of risk, and let's do the rating together. All right, okay. So, okay, because of time, let me just give an example. Let's say poor regulatory compliance, right? Lack of regulatory compliance. Bomb blast, that's too far now. Aviary, why that? Why they mention bomb? Please, let us go there. That one is not, the rating is not even on this, it's not on this. Again, okay, so let's work on it. Let's work with it, right? Bomb blast, yes. Maybe for those that are doing mining, yeah. Yes, it's a good example. It's a good example. Let's, for example, for those that are in the mining industry, explosion, right? You know, they need to bomb, they need to explode so that they can be able to mine and all that, right? So quickly, let's do this together. So what do you think will be the possibility? Let's say mining, okay, another example, lack of maintenance. Let's work with the bomb blast, right? Thank you for your response, right? So let's say, let's use that bomb blast for mining industry. So what will happen? What will be the likelihood, right? What do you think the likelihood? Of course, it's something that should not happen often. Let's say the likelihood will be very, that's 1, right? So we want to do rating. If it happened, what will be the consequence? Of course, it will be catastrophic. That's 5. So 1 times 5 is 5. That means that risk is what? Is moderate. But again, let's say if the likelihood is, don't forget I told you that risk rating is what? Likelihood multiplied by consequence. So again, if the likelihood is 3, which is possible, and the consequence is 5, which is catastrophic, that's 3 times 5, that's 15. That means that kind of risk is extreme. So the rating of that risk is extreme. So part of your control may be that to inform the management or the board of directors immediately. All right. So that's just to give you and we're going to have to calculate risk weighting. Then that will guide you to provide adequate controls and again review your control, right? So 6.2 talks about objective OHS. When I say OHS, I'm referring to operational health and safety. OHS objectives, right? 6.2 talks about OHS objectives. All right. So this is saying that you need to set objectives and set OHS objective and plans to achieve them. Set objectives and plans to achieve them. So when you set objective, when you're setting objectives, it's important that you set
Hello, sir. Can you hear me? I think his network is glitching a bit. Let's give him a few moments while he reconnects. Mr. Femi, can you hear me, please? Okay, I think he's having some network issues, so let's give him a few moments while he reconnects and proceeds with the class.
hello.
Hello, okay,
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you
Sorry,
now.
Welcome back. We lost you
sorry,
at some point.
yeah, my network just messed me up. Sorry, let me just share my screen again. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
All right, good. Okay. So thank you. So yes, objectives. So I was talking about that you need to set adequate objective, smart objective, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. I'll give an example. Achieve 0 accident at the end of each quarter. So is it measurable? Yes. 0%. Look at 0. That's normal. Is it specific? Yes, specific to accident. Is it achievable? The process owner will know. The HSC manager will know. Is it realistic? The HSC manager will know. But of course, it's realistic. Is it time bound? Yes, it's time bound. We are looking at the end of the quarter, right? Okay, so that's just it. So for someone support, 7.2, I've talked about resources. 7.1, resources. I talk about resources. 7.2, competence. So it's important that people are trained. All right, the first aid training, the fire marshal training, and all sorts of training. Ensure that people are competent in carrying out their duties. Awareness, ensure that you do awareness time to time. All right, awareness about the quality policy. OHS policy. Awareness about the OHS objective and all that. Then communication. You must have a communication plan. Is it a weekly communication? Is it monthly? Is it a quarter? Adequate communication plan that will cut across different OHS topics, and again, documented information. This is very important. Your documents need to be controlled. You must have a specific way of controlling your document. If I see company organization A document, I should know that this belongs to organization A by having the adequate logo, the adequate document title. So essentially, all this you must define how you want to approach your document control. Again, let me quickly say this to tell you this. So you should pay attention. This clause 7.5 alone is some people are using to, get millions in some organization, right? You can just on this clause 7.5, you can be a document controller, you can be a document control lead, especially in all those oil and gas and the hand millions, right? So you need to take note of this seriously, right? So do operation 8.1 says that it's operational planning and control. You should have your plan your activity, plan everything, and let there be adequate control to put in place whatever that you have planned. And 8.2 talks about several emergency preparedness and response procedures. So you need to identify different emergency situations that relate to your environment that relate to organization. Example is fire outbreak, like someone has mentioned in the chat box, flood, civil unrest, dog bite, and so on and so forth. So when you identify them, you need to define procedure. What are the later procedure should this emergency situation happen? What are the procedure, the steps that need to be taken to to steps that need to be taken to to address this, right? Then this procedure, you need to train people on it. Then after training, you need to test it, and that's what we call drills. So I don't know, some of you on the call, of course, might have come across this drill. You need to do drills, you need to conduct drills in the organization, right? Then you need to take record of these drills. In that drills, the outcome of the drills will guide you and will tell you whether there is something wrong with your procedure, when you need to go back to the drawing board and adjust your procedure, right? And again, check the plan to check, as I said, the 9 performance evaluation. You need to set 9.1 saying MMA, monitoring, measuring, analysis, and evaluation. So you need to have later metrics that you set, to address your to measure the performance of your standard, all right, to measure the effectiveness and efficiency of your standard, right? Okay. Again, 9.2 talks about internal audit. Yes, you need to audit yourself internally before you even do that externally. 9.3 talks about management review. So management review has its own agenda. We need to have divine timeline. Is it every quarter you want to be having this? Is it every 6 months, where you discuss different issues as regards internal, external issues, risk, audit outcomes, and many things like that. Again, 10 talk about improvement. 10.1 general improvement, need to identify area of improvement. 10.2 talk about non-conformity, incident, and corrective action. So when you identify non-conformity, you need to provide adequate corrective action. Adequate corrective action, right? So again, because if you don't, in one of the way to tackle non-conformity are 3 key things. You need to identify the root cause, do what I call the root cause analysis. There are different tools and techniques for the root cause analysis. We have the 5 whys, where you keep asking why. Oh, the water poured on the floor. Why did the water pour on the floor? Okay, because it was why Ade was carrying the water from one place to the other. Why did Ade have to carry the water? Well, Kemi was not available and all that. Are they trained to carry the water? You begin to ask why until you get to the root cause. When I visit organization, I ask them what's the root, and they tell me it's an oversight. Oversight is never a root cause. You need to get to the source. What is the source? What happened actually, right? To get to, because if you don't provide adequate root cause, you'll not be able to provide the genuine corrective action. For instance, for example, let's say my line manager gave me a task that I should do, and unfortunately I did not do the task. So, and the root cause was identified that knowledge gap. I don't have the knowledge of that task. What will be my corrective action? My corrective action will be training. Identify training for me. So your corrective action must sufficiently address your root cause. And again, continuous improvement, I told you, need to identify area of continuous improvement. The standard is not a cast in stone. It's not one-off. You need to improve continuously. And that's why there is, for every organization that implement this, there's a yearly audit and all that for all organizations that implement this, right? Time to time. And that's it. So I think that is it. I don't know, Messi, I want to give this 5 minutes for question, or is there a section for question later? I don't know. So
You
that
can give because we'll be running up by 1 o'clock rather.
all right.
So you can start taking your questions.
Okay, so again, questions. If you have any question, I think I'm done with the class. Let me start welcoming your question now. Quick. If you have any question, can unmute your mic. You can type in the chat box. Anyone, quick, a question. Question. If you have any question. You can unmute your mic and you can ask a question in the chat room. Any one of it is welcome. All right, so I think Messi has promised that you're going to get the slide. So those areas that I talked about, I'll also ensure I add it as part of the slide. So for your personal study. All right, question. Are people on this call? Do you have question or you understand all I've explained? I have about 37 people on this call. Do you have any question? Or you're good to go? All right. If you're good to go, just type you're good to go. You understand everything. Type it at the chat box so that we know that you are following. All right. So where are my participants? Just type on the chat box. Even if you have any question, type I'm okay, I'm good to go. All right, Stephen, thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Yes. I want more responses. I actually want to know whether people follow or not. Yes, thank you, Stephen. Good to go. Adedamola, thank you. Princess Moshi, thank you. Magdalene, thank you. No questions. Yes. Good to go. Gabriel, wow, thank you. That means you understand everything that I've explained. Wow, I'm impressed. That's good. Yes. More responses. Yes. I still have 35 people on the call. More responses. Yes. Thank you for those that respond. All right. Let's have one or two more. Let's have one or two more. I still have about 2 minutes. One or two more. Yes. Response. Thank you, Adedamola. All right. Again, everybody, thank you. The absence of any question. Thank you for your time. Thank you for staying on the call. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for listening. Team Messi has promised you that you get the slide and all that. So let me hand over to Messi. Messi, thank you. Everyone, enjoy the rest of the day.